How much is a credit in the Subnautica universe? To start, I'll explain how I plan to find the answer. You may be familiar with exchanging currency. When you travel between countries that use different currencies, the money you brought with you will have a different value and you may not be able to use it at all unless you get it converted to the local currency. Unfortunately, this is not what I'm doing today. Every currency has its own value in the real world, like how we value any other item, just based on how strong the economy is. And Subnautica doesn't exist in the real world. What I'm doing is the next best thing, though it might anger some people that actually know how money works. I need an in-game item that has a set value. If the game ever says the set value of an item, that's my starting price, and I can compare that to what an item would be worth in real life in USD. I can use that to determine how much a credit is, and then I'll convert it to a bunch of currencies that aren't USD for the convenience of anyone watching who doesn't use that. There is a good reason I'm using USD to find the space money value, which is something I'll get into in just a moment. First, let's just find our starting price. There are only 2 times these games specify prices. One time is at the end of the game.
Welcome home to Alterra. Permission to land will be granted once you have settled your outstanding balance of 1 trillion credits.
Which is not going to help, of course. There's no set amount of items that gives you this number, and the player has to collect so many different things to reach the end of the game that we can't get a solid number for any one resource. There is only one moment that can help us.
Remember that materials you gather are the property of the Alterra Corporation. You will be liable to reimburse the full market price. Your current bill stands at 3 million credits.
The first time the player picks up a diamond, the PDA plays them this message. In Universe, it's keeping track of everything the player picks up, because it will then become the property of Alterra and the player will be expected to pay for it. This sets the price of a single diamond at 3 million credits. Now hang on, is this really how much the diamond is worth? Surely the devs didn't expect the player to instantly go over and grab a diamond right after spawning. They would have grabbed many items before now, so these would have to be influencing the price. Let me get to that. See, before you reach diamonds, it is likely you have to handle many other items first. But I need to bring something to your attention, the roundness of this number. 3 million is a very specific amount, and I don't think it's unreasonable to say that we're actually in the general area, or more accurately, we passed it, and the PDA is just rounding down to the milestone we just hit. Now, taking this into consideration, I still think the value of 1 diamond is around 3 million. Even if we collected a bunch of stuff, that's probably just whatever amount gets left out when the PDA rounds down to 3 million. I'd also like to present the possible context for this message. For the player, this is a big number, so it gives the impression that this is a lot of money in this universe, supporting my idea that other items are significantly less expensive and therefore are left out when rounding down. Now, the PDA giving us this reminder is almost like a warning to watch what we collect in case we're worried about our debt. There's something we can extrapolate from that. If this is a lot of money, then in-game, diamonds are expensive like they are in reality. Now, the price of any item does change from place to place. It's all dependent on the culture, the costs, and the competition, and diamonds are pretty expensive everywhere, but there are certain places where they're considered much cheaper. America is not one of those places. The cost of diamonds is insane, and Unknown Worlds is based in America. They likely brought a pretty American-centric viewpoint to their game, and that's why I'm going to be working with USD. Keep in mind, this is all insanely speculative. I have no guarantee that this is actually going to be accurate, but I really want to answer this question, and as far as I know, this is all I have. So we have the price of 1 diamond, 3 million credits. But here's the thing, we can't just compare this right away, we have to know how much a diamond is here on Earth. To figure that out, we're going to need something else from the game that has a canon length so that we can compare it to the diamond and figure out how big this thing is. I searched through the game, and I think our best option is the Seamoth. Its PDA entry says it's 3 meters by 1.5 meters by 1 meter. Now, I just need to compare the dimensions of its model to those of the diamond. So I used a Unity asset decompiler to search for the exact models in game, and I couldn't find them. If anyone else would like to go through all of this, they can, but I'm not going to keep searching. We'll have to do this the old-fashioned way for now. Pixel measurements. It's not a perfect way to do this, but it's mine and you can't take it from me. I made a platform to put the diamond and Seamoth at the same level, and took 2 specific frames from directly above each. The player has a bobbing animation that actually moves the camera up and down, so I stayed at exactly 1 meter below the surface by only moving sideways, and took my measurements from the moment that the player would bob down to negative 1.1 meters. The Seamoth is 456 pixels. The Seamoth is 456 pixels at its longest. Before we move forward, I should probably confirm that this is accurate, so I'll measure the vertical direction too. The dimensions from this angle are 3 meters and 1.5 meters, so the other direction should be about half the length. Wait. Okay, no, it turns out the 1.5 meters is just for the pod the player sits in. I'm not sure why, probably because these create variations in the distance, but yeah, it seems about accurate. If the Seamoth is exactly 456 pixels and 3 meters long, we can turn those into centimeters and determine that 1 pixel is 0.657 centimeters, or 0.259 inches if you're like me and don't know what a centimeter is. This length is like a third of a penny. Now we need to estimate how much diamond is actually here, because all of that gray stuff is not diamond. The diamonds are encased in rock, so we don't actually see the entire gems. Looking at the largest one, it sticks out at 45 pixels, but we can use the shape to determine roughly how far it might go into the rock. I think a good 25 more pixels is reasonable, making the whole thing 70 pixels long, or 46.05 centimeters, or 18.13 inches. The diamond is also 30 pixels wide, 19.73 centimeters, or 7.77 inches. Now we'll check the top of the diamond, not for actual measurements, but for a rough estimate of the thickness. We just measured the flattest side of it, and here that's 321 pixels. Then the depth of it is 186, so the thickness of the diamond is 0.579 times the width we measured, which comes out to 11.43 centimeters, or 4.5 inches. The complete dimensions of this large gem are on screen now. If this all seems super rough to you, I'll let you in on a little secret. We don't actually need to be super accurate with this because there's a massive problem we've already run into. There are many different gems within this structure, some large and some smaller, and honestly I have no way of knowing how big these actually are since they don't poke out nearly as much as the largest piece, but I have a solution to this. I'm just gonna take the size of this diamond and multiply it by like 2. I think this will give us the absolute minimum amount of diamond within the rock. We could try to measure every single gem, but it's going to be pure speculation either way. Now let's get into how diamonds are valued. I found a pretty handy explanation from this company called the Raw Stone. First I have to determine if it's a blood diamond. I have to determine the structure before it's cut and polished because the shape and amount determines what it can be cut into. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this matters. The future doesn't need professional gem cutters. We have a magic 3D printer that can seemingly turn anything into anything. I can place it on the scales of color and clarity. A clearer gem means a higher price, and the color can also change the price in different ways. And there's the carats, which is the weight of the gem, pretty much telling us the full amount of material available. 1 carat is 200 milligrams, or 0.007 ounces. Actually, I'm American and I don't even know what an ounce is. It's a 16th of a pound, so if you can picture that in your head, good for you. Obviously, we don't have the weight of the diamond, and Subnautica items have 2 weights, sinking and not sinking, so we're gonna have to speculate some more on how much a diamond of this size may weigh. The average density of a diamond is 3.5 grams per cubic centimeter, and the volume of this big gem is 10,384.91 cubic centimeters. That makes it 36,347.2 grams. That's 181,736 carats. The largest rough diamond in the world is the Cullinan diamond, which was 3,106 carats. Every in-game diamond model is 58.5 times larger than the biggest rough diamond on Earth. When the rough diamond was presented to the British monarchs in 1907, it was valued at around 150,000 pounds, which is 22 million in 2024, and for the currency we're working with, that's 28 million USD. And here we have a diamond that is 58 times larger, plus around double the material in the rest of the rock, being valued by the game at only 3 million credits. This is interesting. It tells us that credits may actually be significantly more valuable than any currency we have, since something so priceless takes significantly less money to afford. The weight of the diamond is not the only influence here. The color is actually not on the scale of typical diamond grading. They're either clear or yellowish brown. This in-game diamond is bluish gray. It looks way more blue in the inventory though. Blue diamonds do exist, they're just extremely rare, making them insanely valuable. However, this diamond only has a slight hint of blue. It's not nearly as vibrant as more expensive ones, so it probably won't scale to those for its color alone, but its price certainly will benefit from this. The clarity is uncertain. On one hand, you can say it's as low as possible and leave it at that. I mean, you can't see through it at all. You can counter this by pointing out you literally just pulled it out of the ground and it's covered in rock. I'm honestly not sure how to rate this, but it is likely that it's just not clear, so I'll leave it at that. So I'm not a professional diamond grader, but I found this website where I can put in a bunch of information and it'll give me an estimate on my diamond. The only problem is it uses the cut, something that we don't have because this one is rough. It also apparently only works by finding diamonds similar to the information you put into the calculator, and I think it's safe to say no diamond like this exists. Well, hang on, I'm not a professional diamond grader, but the raw stone has professional diamond graders. So I sent them a message on their website, asking them. It doesn't matter, they never got back to me. Alright, I'm gonna save myself some work, okay? I'm not a professional diamond grader. I looked around many different guides and sites, but it seems like the price of a diamond is completely made up, especially when it's blue. I'm gonna go ahead and do math relating it to the Cullinan diamond because that was so expensive for being the biggest diamond ever, and surely that can be applied here. Take the carats of this diamond, divide by the Cullinan diamond, it's 58.5 times larger. Multiply that by the modern price of that diamond, 28,980,474.44, and we get $1,695,684,321.58. And remember, that's for the one gem. We still have to multiply it by 2 for probably the low estimate of whatever else is in this rock. $3,391,368,643.16. I have to point out we aren't sure of the clarity, and it's likely just very cloudy as we see it in the game, and that'll take some of the value, but you can probably add that right back because it's blue, an extremely rare and extremely valuable color of diamond that seemingly lets you multiply any price by 10. I figure those cancel each other out, and it should be expensive as hell anyway because it's the biggest diamond in history. Now finally, with that price, we can convert. 3 million credits is equal to that massive amount of USD. So if we divide both by 3 million, one Subnautica credit is equal to $1,130.46. It's like I said earlier, one credit is actually worth quite a lot, and I have to assume that you split these up somehow because there's no way that food or anything is worth even one of these. I wouldn't pay $1,000 for lunch. Anyway, I just wanted to do this too. 1 trillion Subnautica credits is equal to 1,430,456,214,390,000 USD. Could you imagine having to pay that off? That's literally 32.3 times the US national debt. Now, how accurate is this? Honestly, it's probably not that accurate. This is, again, not how money works, and there's a bigger question of how things would be valued in the Subnautica universe. It seems like scarcity should not be a thing. There's incredible machines that can print anything with a collection of simple ingredients. You can put food into them and they're instantly cooked. Could you just put carbon into them and get a perfect diamond? Would that devalue them? In terms of how accurate my estimate is for the actual price of this diamond, I'd also say it's likely inaccurate for the sole reason that diamond prices seem to be completely made up just based on whatever the gem cutter can imagine making with it. But honestly, if I brought a diamond this size to a real professional and they saw a rough gem 58 times bigger than the largest in history, they would probably just tell me it's priceless. So I'm satisfied leaving this here and saying one Subnautica credit might be around $1,000. Thanks for watching. Even if this really wasn't how money works, I still hope I made a convincing case or an interesting video. If I had any experience grading diamonds, maybe I could have made an accurate guess based on all the information, but if anyone watching happens to know how to grade a diamond, tell me your thoughts in the comments, please. Feel free to tell me how I'm wrong, even if you don't know how to grade diamonds. Please subscribe. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll do weekly content. I'll see ya.